Hi, folks. I'm Jamie Hiles.
I'm Lydia Judy.
And I'm the prepster, Derek Lemaster.
This is Screen Bloody Movies, the podcast where we review a horror movie each week, go over the horror news, and Derek turns into Zach Morris. It's Saved by the Bell reference for you.
There we go.
Are you guys? You look more like I don't know what you look like.
A tool?
No
Is that what you're saying?
No comparison for that. What are you guys up to? How's everything going?
It's going. It's going.
I fought with a 5-year-old earlier. I won.
Congratulations. Mazel tov.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I am fighting a cold, so if I sound funny or cough during this episode, I apologize. But the show must go on, as they say. We got some big news. The latest script has been finished. We are reviewing it for revisions, and then we will update you guys on what that will be. So stay tuned. That's some big news. Guys, we got a lot to talk about today because we're doing the third of, what is there, 5 now Insidious movies? So this is the third of 5?
Because there's has not been released, right?
No, it's just been released.
Oh.
Yeah, it's out currently. So I think there's 5, right? Because there's the Last Key.
Yeah.
And then this, right? I think that's right. So we have a lot to talk about on this, but before we do, I want to jump into some horror news. And we have some interesting stuff here, guys. First, I just want to see your guys' heads explode when I mention this and see what you think about this. It's something we haven't reviewed yet, but it's a franchise that we probably all hold in high regard. They are announcing that a Return of the Living Dead reboot is in the works that will expand on the existing world. What are your thoughts?
Oh, okay. Did not see that coming.
Weren't they, didn't we once talk about, so is this going back to the George Romero stuff?
No, Return of the Living Dead is a separate franchise. Look, Return of the Living Dead started in '85 by the co-writer of Night of the Living Dead, John Russo.
Okay.
Dan O'Bannon wrote the script and directed the first Return of the Living Dead. There's more horror comedies than the night movies, which are more straight horror with social commentary. But after the first 2, which are pretty, the first one is a classic. We'll have to do it. And the second one is a lot of fun. After that, they kind of fell into direct-to-video hell. I remember seeing the covers in the video store. And just being, what the hell? What the hell is this?
Have we not done the first one?
We have not done Return.
Wow.
We've not done it yet. That might be one that we have to tip off.
Definitely.
I'm kind of leery about it because,
it could go either way. It's one of those.
It could. I mean, there's a lot you could do with it if you get the tone right. But that first, I mean, you're not going to ruin it because the sequels pretty much did that. Especially when you get to like part 5, Necropolis or whatever the fuck it's called. It's like, that's just. Hang on one quick second. My headphones died.
Nice.
So give me just a second.
Death comes to us all, Hirokasaki.
That's cool. Cool. Oh, good. All right, can you hear me?
Yep.
These suck, but whatever. What are you going to do? All right. So, yeah, that is that bit of news. So, you guys, either way, right?
Yeah, I'm hopeful that it will be good.
Yeah, you can hope. All right, the next bit here is we get finally a nice, clear look at Dracula from the new Last Voyage of the Dementor that we've been talking about for a while. Remember this?
Yes.
So I'm going to share with you guys this beautiful picture of Dracula. I mean, we kind of have seen it a little bit, but here's a Fangoria cover of it. So, let's check it out.
Whoa.
There he is. What do you guys think?
That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
What do you think, Derek?
Looks good. For my old man eyes, can you make it any bigger?
Oh my God. There, can you see it now?
Yeah. Looks good.
Yeah,
I
looks
have
pretty
seen
cool.
some of the recent previews, and they looked good too. So
Yeah, they do. I think this is going to be a pretty cool movie. So yeah, I'm excited to see that. That's a good design for Dracula. It's not quite butt hair, but it is what it is. Nothing's going to beat the butt hair. I mean, your two classic Dracula looks are, Bela Lugosi and Gary Oldman's butt hair.
you shouldn't be cracking jokes at his hair.
Good one.
When I say butt hair, it kind of sounds like I'm talking about the hair on his butt instead of like the fact that his hair looks like butt.
I mean, judging by his palms, you never know.
You know what they say causes hairy palms. He was in that castle by himself for a long time.
He had 3 brides, man. 3.
I don't know. All right, this next bit is interesting. Excuse me. We were just talking about those. We did Winnie the Pooh. We were talking about the mean one. We've got a new exclusive image from a movie coming out called Cinderella's Curse.
Yeah.
And we have a picture of the fairy godmother in this thing. Do you want to see it?
Let's see it.
see it.
Check her out.
Oh, good Lord.
That's
That is
the
a-
fairy godmother?
That is the fairy.
This doesn't look like a fairy godmother at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Apparently, the it does. We don't have a lot to go on. It just says that their version of Cinderella winks towards Carrie. That's all we have. So, what do you guys think of this?
Okay. Okay.
You know.
Moving on.
It's got to be better than Pooh, because that movie was shit. If you guys get my
I
My
got
phone
it. I
there.
got it.
I look back fondly on Pooh now.
Did we watch the same movie?
Yeah,
I
the-
enjoyed it.
The effects in this movie look way better. I will tell you. I will say that.
That
If going by this godmother's, and he
corpse lady
Yeah.
looked pretty good.
looks pretty great. Guys, we got a new Godzilla movie coming out from Toho. So a new Japanese Godzilla movie
Really?
from Toho, and we've got a new Godzilla design, and he looks fucking legit. course he
Oh.
does. He's a Toho Godzilla, right? Here's a look at him. Boom.
Nice.
All right, man. Do your thing. Do your thing, cuz.
Oh my god, don't ever do that again. What do you think? He looks phenomenal, right?
Dude, he does look good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw the trailer. It is just a teaser trailer. Doesn't give much away. Just the name, which is Minus Zero, is the name of the movie, which is a fucking kick-ass name. So I'm excited. Love me some Godzilla. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I know my mom has been watching Godzilla like nonstop lately, so she's probably pretty excited.
Hell yeah. Derek, this next bit of news is specifically for you.
Oh, please, 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 please.
We have a new movie coming out that is called Santa Stein.
Oh, that's still pretty fun.
Santa-Stein.
Man, I thought you were going to
Yes.
give me the best news I could ever receive. And that's a sequel to Lumberjack
We're not getting
Man.
a Lumberjack Man 2. It's never happening.
It will happen.
But-
Wait till I win the lottery.
Santa, you're going to fund that instead of one of our projects if you win the lottery.
Yep.
Fuck out of here.
Priorities.
So Santa Stein 2 is about a somebody named Max who, when he was 6 years old, accidentally burnt Santa to a crisp on Christmas Eve. 12 years later, Max attempts to raise Santa from the dead in order to fix his past mistakes and restore the Christmas spirit. But he realizes that the creature he has created is a bloodthirsty killer, and it's headed straight for his friend's Christmas party.
Dude,
What do you
I'm
guys
so down with this. This
Yeah,
sounds
that
awesome.
sounds good.
Sounds fun, right? Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Santa Stein is releasing August 12th. It's when it's having its world premiere, and then it will during a festival. So we don't know when it's going to have a home video release yet, but it is on the way. And then finally, Lydia, this last bit of horror news is specifically for you. I'm just going to share the screen first. Spirit Halloween is releasing Killer Crowns from Outer Space popcorn gun.
Oh. Okay.
Look at that.
I might need one.
Look at that.
How much is that beast?
It is $100.
100?
$100.
Nuh-uh.
Yep. You can pre-order it for $99.99 right now. I'm sure it'll go down once it's actually in stores, but the
I was
pre-order
gonna
is
say,
$100.
I'm like, that's like 40 tops.
Yeah, you would think. But it is pretty cool, right?
It is cool.
Yep.
I mean, if it was cheaper, I'd get it.
And there's like definitely a few suckers out there that love Killer Clowns from Outer Space that will absolutely pay that amount for that.
I paid like well north of $100 for my Ghostbusters neutrino wand.
Yeah,
But it works. Like it
Yeah.
lights and everything.
it sucks up ghosts and stuff.
It does. I've actually busted quite a few ghosts with it. Pretty happy with it.
That's why
What
your
do you
house
think,
is
Derek?
haunted.
That's why. Keep it clean.
It looks pretty cool. I mean, super nostalgic. Does it say that it does anything? Or it's literally just to look at?
Yeah. No,
Those
it
little
looks like it
popcorn-
shoots popcorn. Looks
Yeah,
like
those
it
popcorn pieces look like they move at least.
Yeah, I think it actually puts popcorn. I'm looking at it now. Looks like you fill it with popcorn and it shoots popcorn out.
Okay.
Crank
fun.
up the heat and get ready to blast your foe with pop, pop, pop. When you hit them with the ray, let's see. Pull the trigger to activate the lights and shooting sounds. Okay, let's see.
Phew.
Salty popcorn goodness with real lights and audio, just like in the film. Yeah, I think it actually shoots. You can actually maybe fill it with pop. Well, maybe not. Maybe it just lights and makes sounds. But, still kind of cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, if they only release, well, they have released. I just need to get a Necronomicon, like one of the the trick or treat ones because I have like the book of the DVD ones, but I didn't need an Necronomicon to sit up here with all my other shit that I don't need that I've collected over time. But hey, what are you gonna do? And that wraps up this week's horror news. So, guys, today we watched Insidious Chapter Trace. The Next Generation. That's not what it's called. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, they kept it simple.
3. They did. Just Chapter 3, in and out. Lydia, you picked this one. Was this your first time watching this movie?
No, it is not. I watched it in theater when it came out, and I remember really liking it. So I was kind of excited to watch it again. I think I might have seen it once or twice since then, too. But, you know.
How about you, Derek?
This is not the first time I've seen this movie. I have seen it before. It's always good to refresh the memory. But yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, this is not my first time watching this movie either. Actually, I believe the first time I watched it, I don't think I went to I don't think I got to see this in the theater. I think Sarah and I rented it when it came out. Because I remember it scaring the shit out of her when we watched it. Especially there's certain parts that did scare her when we watched it first time. And I think I've seen it maybe once again. This might be my third time watching it. Or so. Like I remembered a lot of it when it was happening. So it wasn't like a completely, blind watch or anything, but it was kind of almost because there's definitely some stuff I forgot and some stuff that I remembered, some stuff that I liked, some stuff that I maybe didn't like as much watching it this time. So we'll get into it. Where do you guys want to start? Don't say the beginning, Derek.
Where we start every week, man. Every story has a beginning.
So, this movie is interesting because it's good.
So this movie is starting at the beginning because it's a prequel.
Yes, it is a prequel to the first Insidious.
Yep.
Yes, it's a prequel to Insidious, and which is interesting that they went that route, especially since Insidious 2 leaves us on a cliffhanger where Elise, as her spirit, looks, sees the creature sees something in the dark. We just don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. And then we just never we don't pick that up. We just start here with, a prequel. So yeah, we're kind of introduced. What's interesting about it is the Lambert family is mentioned. Mm-hmm. And we see pictures of young Josh, especially when we get some cameos later in the movie. But we're introduced to whole new characters here. Our lead character's name is Quinn, mm-hmm. and she is a high school senior. She's she's wanting to go off to drama school in New York City, the Big Apple, and she's recently lost her mom. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think of Quinn as a protag?
I like Quinn.
I second that. She's super sympathetic. And I think that's really appealing.
No, I agree. I think she is definitely sympathetic, and she's kind of every person, like girl next door, kind of, innocent kid. We see the relationship between her father, played by Dermot Mulroney, and her son, or her brother, Alex. And she's kind of had to pick up the slack since her mom died. Her father's kind of unfairly putting a lot of load on her as like a mother figure when she's not. She's just not. But he's grieving and trying. She's only been gone a year at this point.
Yeah, the dad's story, I mean, it does change. So initially, you are kind of thinking, man, it's kind of not a nice guy. But then, like, later on, he redeems himself. But you really have to put yourself in his situation, like losing a wife and a single parent, and it seems like he's super busy. So that comes across maybe not so great, but he redeems himself later.
Yeah, that's what I really like about these movies too, is like, especially this one really touches on that of like, how do you, carry on your life after like losing a really important family member to you and to your life. And like, I don't know, some of those messages really like are kind of like hopeful, like
Yeah.
they're still with you, and you're like,
Yeah, and this one is especially interesting because we meet Elise at the beginning when Quinn visits her for a psychic reading because her friend had told her about her.
Yeah.
And we find Elise in a place that we've never seen her before. She's grieving. She's in this like kind of down state. We find out that she has just lost her husband, about a year ago as well. To he ended his own life, and she doesn't have the answer. She doesn't know why. And Quinn wants to contact her mom because she has questions, and she says, "I understand that." We all. And once she starts to kind of call her mom, she gets like scared. She has like this, something's after her.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells her that she's done. She can't do this anymore. We find out later it is the bride, or Mason Parker.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. That's a cool callback that we kind of pay that off.
There's another interesting thing that happens here. So Quinn has tried to do some amateur connections herself.
And yes, so and through other people, I guess, too. Yeah.
I took it as like she was messing with a Ouija board, or she's tried to do some sort of like connect with her mom. And so at least gives her a warning. She was like, you don't do this without somebody to guide you. Like, you don't know what you're messing with. You can open a door. It seems like she did.
She did, but it's not a door that hasn't been opened before, we come to find out, with this particular entity. So the big the first little scares we get, this movie kind of is a slow burn. At the beginning, there's like kind of not a lot happen. Like we get like noises, and we see like the waving guy when she's at the.
Loved that.
We see the waving guy at the theater, and we're like, huh.
I had to rewind it because it was really quick. And I was like, man, I want to see that one more time.
But when we get to this, I remember watching this for the first time. And when we get to the bit where she gets hit by the car.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she stops in the middle of the road. So part of me was like, oh, she's going to like almost get hit by a car or something. That's going to be the scare. She's going to see this. The car's going to honk at, you know what I mean? But instead, she just gets like toasted by this car. And I remember it like shocking me. Like I was just like, oh, like,
yes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yep, me too. I was so shocked. Me and Jake both like fully jumped, and we don't get that often in movies, that it made us jump so good. I was like, holy cow, I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah, it's a good scare, but it's even more just shocking that we see her get hit by this car. Our protagonist this early in the movie.
Yeah. It's like straight out the gate.
Yeah, what'd you think, Derek?
No, it got me too. I knew that I knew it was coming because I'd seen this movie before, but even without that, like the clues are there. But you're right. In this situation, normally it's a car that beeps at you, almost hits you, but no, they went full bore, and I mean it has a purpose, but it was shocking.
Yeah, and then it also works because it kind of turns the rest of the movie kind of into like Rear Window to a degree. Like our protagonist can't move; she's reliant on everybody else to get around. So that's pretty interesting. I think that's cool. Because then it kind of she's at the mercy of everybody else. So she can't just, what we would do is get up and run out of the room when you see this creepy guy. She's stuck there.
Yes.
And then the scares start. What do you guys want to talk about next? What scared? You want to talk about the man?
Let's talk about him.
What do you guys think of the design of the I don't know what the hell to call him, the breath guy?
Yeah, the breathing.
Breathing, the man who has trouble breathing.
Yeah.
What do they
What do you
refer
think
to
of
him in the movie?
The man who can't breathe.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what Elise calls him. What do you guys think of him?
Yeah.
I think it's super creepy design. And it's also kind of sad, you know, because you're like, this was a human at one point, and now it's been here so long that it's like not human anymore, which is freaky.
There is I see where you're coming from. So like there is a position of sympathy initially until you really understand the intentions that this thing has. But you are kind of sympathetic a little bit. I mean, it could have been taken until, she meets him when she's in this coma as somebody like trying to reach out. But yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I think he's got a great design. I think the mask is really cool. The wearing the breathing mask just adds a layer, because then we have to hear him breathing.
Yeah, the sound is great.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
creates
awful.
Yeah, it creates good sound design, and it's like and it's a striking look. He's frail, like just this creepy looking thing. And so he starts terrorizing Quinn just throughout this movie, and we get introduced to a couple of characters that actually play pivotal parts. One being the two neighbors, the elderly couple.
Mm-hmm.
Find out that she kind of has she's at the final stages of dementia or Alzheimer's, and she doesn't have long left, and she passes away, and we get this bit where her father goes down and has a heart-to-heart with him and talks to him, which is really nice. Shows his character. And his character actually, what I really like about this movie is, and I like this about most of the Insidious movies, we don't have the parents in the dark or the people in the dark for too long. Just not believing them for the whole movie. The first time something happens, he hears it. He hears the crack with the slam on the ceiling and sees the crack and goes up and investigates and sees the gross, I don't know, what is that, fucking tar?
I'm assuming, that's what I took. And the reason why the guy's on oxygen is he had some sort of lung cancer. Yeah. But I think it's tar too.
Yeah.
Which is
definitely
super scary.
Yeah.
Freaky.
So that would be, so he sees that. And so immediately we're like, oh, okay. So he's starting to believe her already. And he pretty much does the entire time. The next bit happens. She freaking is in her room. My favorite scare, one of my favorite scares, is she's in her room and she decides to text the guy that has a crush on her.
Yep.
And before she does, she knocks on the door, on the wall, because their bedrooms are, right through the wall at each other. And she knocks, he knocks back. They play a little knock game. And then she texts him, and she's like, "Oh, you think I can stop traffic, huh?" And he's like, "Maybe." And then she's like, "Did I wake you up?" He's like, "Oh, I'm not at home. I'm at my grandma's." And she's immediately "What is going on?" Then old boy, you're expecting him to be there. Instead, he grabs her from above, which is a pretty good scare.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think of that bit?
It's so freaky to think about. I get sucked into this scene. I'm just ooh, I get just oh man, it's not him, it's not him, it's not him. She gets grabbed.
Don't do it.
Yeah, it's weird that it just comes from above.
Yeah, it's because it you're expecting it from the and they play with the camera too, because this is the first one directed by, this is Lee Whannell's directorial debut, the writer of the Insidious movies. And did you guys catch James Wan's cameo
Yes.
in the theater?
Theater.
Yep.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now that you mention it,
Yeah, it's hilarious. So yeah, he moves the camera to where it's above her, and we see like this side of the bed. We pull back, and we go back to it, and we're expecting there to be, the villain laying there. There's nothing there, and instead it comes from above her. It's a good scare. The scariest, though, however, is the very next time she gets attacked, where it rips her off the bed.
is this the one where she sees him behind the curtain?
Curtain.
The sheer curtain.
And he walks and just disappears into the ground.
Super, yeah. This is a very effective scene. It's and the director did a really good job of designing these scares, because a lot of them just kind of take you, because we've been trained as an audience, like, oh, this beat goes with this and this goes with this, and so when you have those creative ways to set you up for that and then surprise you, it's always welcome.
Yeah. So what I find unsettling about this one is he, pulls her off the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's just laying. Yeah, throws her off. And she's just laying there. She can't do anything. And we see his feet come on the other side of the bed and walk around, and it's so slow. We just see his feet.
Mm-hmm.
And then he walks around to the door and shuts the door. It's just so scary that this thing is meticulously doing these things.
Yeah.
And then lays on top of her before she can call her dad, and he comes in and saves her, essentially. What do you guys think of this one?
It is really creepy. Like, after he shuts the door, he goes over and closes the laptop, which I think is a really cool part too. When she's talking to her friend, and she's like, "Is that your brother next to you?" And she's like, "What?" And then like she starts to freeze, and you're just like, "Oh no!"
And she freezes, looking in the direction.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Yeah.
But when he closes the laptop and then like is like, "I'm gonna just like
take you." Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
And yeah, because when he closes the laptop, it makes the room dark.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was the only light in the room. So it darkens the room. And then that was the only unmotivated light, at least. And then or motivated light. And then she comes in, or then he comes in and saves her. So she goes upstairs. She gets treated, everything, she's fine. He takes her into the living room to nap, to go to sleep there. And it doesn't go any better for her, guys.
I'm like, why do you keep leaving her?
Yeah. I was thinking that too. Stay with her.
Yeah.
Some weird shit's going on. You just don't,
Act like he doesn't have like at least a queen size bed. Like they could be together in there,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember if at this point I don't think he's fully, because I think
he's not. Like he thinks that she fell off the bed.
Yeah.
He thinks that he knows that somebody was upstairs for sure.
Yeah, because I think when he really gets confirmation is when she appears upstairs.
Yeah, this scene. Yeah.
Yep.
Because she puts the cover over her head, and when she brings it down, she's sitting in the hallway, which is great, by the way.
That is so great. In their wheelchair.
And then in her wheelchair, and what else is great about it is she starts to try to, like, she goes to the elevator, starts pushing it, and it's a slow elevator. We established that earlier in the movie. And then we just see him appear behind her.
Mm-hmm.
And grabs her, and he slowly starts pushing her down the hallway. And then she starts to yell, and he starts going faster.
Yep.
And he throws her into his creepy ass apartment. And she starts banging on the floor for her dad, who hears it and comes up there and is like, ah! how did you get up here?
Yeah, and she sees that girl with like no face and like
No
no
hands.
hands and feet.
Feet. Yeah.
What is that about?
That's her.
Yeah. Yeah. We find out that's his pets. Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, I mean, but that
It's
is
like half
her,
of
though.
her soul.
Yeah.
It is
the other half. Yeah.
Because she runs into the first lady, who is
Well,
intact, but it
Not first lady. One of the ladies. Because
One
this has
of the
happened
ladies,
multiple
yeah.
times. Because we see multiple ones when Elise visits the further for the first time.
yeah. So we see one of the ladies there, and then because you don't know what this thing is. It doesn't have a face or hands, and then we find out what it is. But
So Elise has been getting visions. She has a vision, or she has a dream, and she writes down Quinn Brenner's name. And then she has this whole bit where she is tracked downstairs into her study, and she because she's tries to summon Lily, Quinn's mother, and she sees the waving guy, the mask face, and it's enough to lures her downstairs, and we get a jump scare where it pops out of the shadows, essentially, because we see the feet print disappear, and then it's hanging upside down, and it scares her to run upstairs. What do you guys think of this bit?
it's very effective.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I think that she plays it off so well.
Yeah, she's really good in these movies.
Yeah.
Ugh, I love her so much.
Yeah, she's really good in these. So her dad goes to visit Elise and says, "Hey, can you at least talk to her? I know," because that's when Elise tells us something is coming for me. It's this woman. It's followed me ever since I left, and it just, it says it's going to kill me, and I think it's going to. So I can't do it anymore. So he says, "Well, can you at least come over and talk to her?" So she agrees, and they have like a little impromptu seance. Essentially, she goes into the further, and she sees. That's when she sees the different women, and there's the one that has her face on the back of her head, which, by the way, could have been it's a digital effect, and it could have been achieved way better if it was just a person standing backwards.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why the hell they did that instead of the terrible that. I was like, nah, come on, what are you doing? Get out of here with that. But she goes in and she's attacked by the bride, who almost kills her, and she's able to get away and wake up. What do you guys think of that first further scene?
It's good. They're good. I love the further. It's just always a cool idea, But yeah, and then this stinking bride keeps jumping out at her. It's so frustrating. They're like, no.
Well, yeah, I love that. So we see Elise, and you had mentioned it. She's very frail. So this scene directly sets up a later scene where it's super empowering, and she's getting her confidence back. We'll get there, but this scene was great for what it did, and it also spooked her to want to try to break away again. It's good stuff.
Yeah. So she leaves again. She says, "I can't do this stuff." She goes and she meets with the guy from Insidious Chapter 2.
Mm-hmm.
Sean, is that his name? Yeah. No, that's the dad's name. What's his name again?
Is it Miguel? Raul?
I was gonna say Jim.
I don't think it's Miguel or Rahul, Derek.
I said Rag. What did I say? I said
It's
Raul.
Carl, by the way. His name is Carl.
Carl.
I was close.
Not even close at all. None of your guesses were close. Jim is actually closer than Raul.
Yeah.
So she meets with Carl, who basically gives her, a pep talk and says, "Hey, we've been saving people. You've been saving people since as long as I've known you. You've been helping people, and that's what we do." She's like, "But why?" He's like, "Because that's just what we do." And she shows the picture of Josh. She said, "See this kid? You saved his family. He's now a grown man with a son of his own." And it like plants that seed in her head, and she's like, "Remember, you're stronger than her because you're alive. You're living."
Mm-hmm.
So in the meantime, Sean, which is Quinn's dad, decides he talks to his son Alex, who convinces him to hire these two fucking internet knuckleheads, which happen to be Specs and Tucker, my two favorite characters in the Insidious movies.
I mean,
Hard
they
for
just
you
have
guys to see
really,
Specs and Tucker.
yeah, they just have really great chemistry as a duo.
Yeah, and they're so funny in this one when we're just like getting to know them, like how they started is so fun.
Yeah, it is. I love when he's talking to her. He's like, "Yeah, I really like that one where you did this." He's like, "Yeah, it was some of my best editing. Yeah, it was really really good editing."
Yeah.
When he talks, he's like 4 to 5. What do you mean? Points at his fucking Bluetooth.
Yeah, as he's eating a cupcake.
yeah, and he hands him the trash. So yeah, they have they put a little camera on her, and we go through this camera scare. What do you guys think of this camera bit?
I like this
Plus,
camera. Yeah, this is
I
a
like it a
good
lot.
scene.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's pretty cool. The way it builds. And I mean, you kind of see it coming, which is what makes it pay off, I think. But when he finds just the camera in the closet, and then she appears behind him
Mm-hmm.
and kicks his leg out from under him, and she just starts like kicking the shit out of all of them. And then when she starts Van Damming the bed, kicking off her
Dude.
casts, reminds me of that
That's
scene
so-
from Kickboxer, where he's
Ugh,
kicking the tree.
Yeah.
so uncomfortable.
Well,
When
and then
she's walking, it's like a
Crunching.
yeah,
Yeah.
the bones are like starting to break again. You're just like it. It's very it's very creepy actually.
So she goes to like slice her own neck with a box cutter, and
Mhm.
because she's fully possessed by this entity, and it says, "I'm going to let you live, and I'm going to watch you suffer in pain," basically. And then he stops her, so they tie her up with wire. They're like, "What do we do?" And they're like, "This is way out of our league. We don't know." He's like, "What are you? Just a couple of internet jokes, pranksters?" And they go to leave, and Elise is standing in the doorway, and she's like, "Let them stay. We might need them." And so she's like, "Okay, so what do you could that record in the dark?" "Yes." "Okay. What's your contribution?" This should be good." And he says, it's the best. I write the blogs. I'm a writer. Which is funny because it's Lee Winnell
Yeah.
who is the writer of the movie.
Yes.
So works on all levels. And so we get our team together of Elise, Specs, and Tucker. And we get the final seance scene. What do you guys think of this final bit here?
It's great.
Elise being a total badass.
I know.
Yeah. My favorite, there's a funny bit before they go in when he's writing what she's saying, and he's like
Verbatim.
reading,
Yeah.
and he's like mouthing it with her after she says it, and he's like, she goes, "Can you just do that quietly? Maybe don't read it." Oh yeah. Just great.
Yeah.
So yeah, she goes into the further, because she goes, he said, "Does this place, other world, have a name?" She goes, "Let's call it the Further." And he goes, "Cool name."
Yes.
Which it is a really cool name.
We got to get some shirts that say "Welcome to the Further."
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
So she goes into the same hallway that she was in, and this is like a mock-up of the apartment in the Further.
Mhm.
and she sees that woman again, and she talks to her. It says, "Don't be afraid of him, blah, blah. Where is he?" And she explains she used to be his pet, and now Quinn is his pet. And she's like, "Well, you're free now. Go." She walks into the room, and she sees somebody sitting on the bed. And before she can go to him, she's attacked by the bride.
Damn it.
And she remembers what Carl said, and that she's more powerful than he is, or than the bride is. So she pushes her off and then shoves her. He said, "This is how you die." She says, "Not today, it isn't." Throws her into the other room, and then she stands up. This is the funniest because it's kind of cheesy. It's kind of a little too cheesy. But she said,
so cheesy.
she goes, "Come on, bitch," and she goes, "We're probably done without that."
I love
No,
it
I think
so
it's
much.
great. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that so much. And when she like goes like that, like yeah,
Yeah,
Come on,
I'm
bitch.
like,
When the bride goes, it's just too much for me.
dude, it's so good. It's
I laughed out loud. Literally, I was like, "Okay." I mean,
it's so great though.
I
I
get what
love
they were
it.
going for. I probably would have maybe tweaked that a little bit before I put that on the film. But hey, what are you going to do?
No, that's
It
not
is what
how
it
to
is.
be.
So she goes and confronts who she thinks is the demon sitting on the bed. Come to find out, it is actually her deceased husband, and he has this conversation with her. And it's a pretty emotional scene because she's like, so happy to see him again, and he says, like, "Oh, I missed you, and I sensed you were here, so I came, and I want you to stay and leave your world behind, but you're going to have to do it yourself." And hands her a straight razor. And she says, "Well, my Jack would never ask me to do something like this, demon," and slices his face and says, "I'm going to do a lot worse than that next time." And then the demon steps out, and we see a good, clear look at him. And he's, creepy and shit. And he starts throwing down. What do you guys think of their throwdown? They're shoving matches.
good.
Yeah, like spiritual shoving matches. It's
Kind of
fun.
remind me of Street Fighter, and they will.
Yeah.
Lucas. Anyway,
Hadouken.
Hadouken. Maybe that was it.
Yeah, what did you say? Locusts?
No, what did he? I thought he said like a Lucas.
No, it's Hadouken. It's a Hadouken is what he's throwing at. Hadouken.
I don't know. I have to go back and. It is something along those lines. Either way, we can.
You think
We
he's
can move on.
yelling George Lucas at people?
No, a Lucas. That's what it sounds like. You know what? We're gonna play the
George
clip.
Lucas.
We're gonna play the clip right here.
Hadouken!
Oh my god, that's hilarious. So yeah, what do you guys think of this final battle between the two?
It's pretty good.
It is pretty good, and I really like that. She gets Quinn at least back to her body, but before. And I don't know why Elise woke up, like decided, okay, I'll go first.
Well, I think they were just running, right? And to the room, and the entity was chasing. And they were running to the room, and Elise's body Elise's spirit reached her body first. Instead, she thought Quinn was right behind her, but Quinn hesitated.
Yeah.
And then during the hesitation, the creature, the entity, grabbed her and started petting her like a pet again.
Oh, I know that scene where like she's laying there without a face, and he's just like caressing her head, and you're just like, you son of a bee.
Yeah.
It's so
So
It
this is where she calls out the big guns.
Elise.
Elise hears the woman who passed away, Grace, talking to her, and says, "What book, Grace? What book?" And she finds it, and she realized that her mother, before she passed away, because she had cancer,
Yeah.
wrote a graduation letter for her. So she takes it and like reads it to and she's like, she was trying to contact you. She really was trying to contact you to tell you to read it early. And then she calls on her mother. She's like, Lily, I need you. You know, she's in trouble. Quinn's in trouble. And her spirit appears in the further and whispers in in Quinn's ear, which is enough to have her fight. Like she starts to get her fingers back and her eyes, and she fights back and pulls off the creature's mask.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think of this ending? And it starts like puking up.
Yeah, it's like a weird hole
CG
instead of
shit.
a mouth.
Yeah.
And it
What
turns
do you
to
guys think of
ash
this?
eventually, but yeah. It's
I
good,
thought
man.
this stuff
Go ahead,
with the
honey.
mom was so emotional. Like it got me. It gets me every time. I'm like, oh man. She
It's
wrote her
getting me
note.
right now.
No, it is good. It worked better for me this time than it did in previous watches because of circumstances that have happened in my life since then. So yeah, it was that the motion works. What I don't think quite works as well is the whole shocker bit where her spirit appears in the further, and that reminded me a little bit. You know, it's a little shockery. That's
Yeah.
fine. It is what it is. But she's like a glowing spirit because she's in the light side, not the
Mhm.
further.
Mhm.
But it's not bad. But I think what gets me, that's okay. What gets me is when Elise is talking to her, said she's here with us right now, and starts mentioning that she was there at the audition. She was there, and she's always been with her. That is what emotionally got me. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some good stuff. So it definitely reminds me of Sixth Sense too. You know,
Yeah.
like that exact same kind of thing. But yeah, it's very emotional.
yeah, it's good. What do you think, Derek?
Yeah, no, all those things. So I had a moment with Clark today that was kind of like that. Like we had a rough evening and he was super tired and we were brushing his teeth. I hate to go into this, but it fits right here. And he was crying and I was like, come here, give me a hug. And he gave me a hug and he was like, are you still my partner?
Oh,
And it actually brought tears to my eyes. I'm like, I will always be your partner.
oh,
But anyway, no, this is great. And it also is a very empowering moment for her to like take her life back from being
Yeah,
this thing.
because
pet.
she's
I loved
been
it.
both her and her dad have been kind of frozen in grief. Like
Yep.
neither of them are really moving forward.
Yeah.
And this kind of it's a
Good way to
moment where
phrase
she realizes, she says she's not coming back, is she? And it's a moment for her to move on,
Yeah.
to move forward, knowing that her mom is never going to leave. She's always going to be right there. So that stuff works. Then we get the ending. You guys are going to say about this ending. So
so you didn't love it?
First, we get a scene with her, Tucker, and Specs, which is fun, if a little cheesy, but it's fun.
Oh, you mean the
I
real
think it's maybe
ending?
I think it's a little too on the nose with everything, but it's all right. It's not
But
bad.
it's like we need it because now we know why they
We need
wear
levity.
their little
Yeah, it's on like
shirts.
this light. It's everything on this light note.
Yeah.
So then we go back to her, Elise, at home, and she's petting her dog Warren, and then she sees she goes to get her. She sleeps with her husband's vest, like his sweater vest, and she goes to grab it, and it's already laid out on the bed, like he had laid it out for her already, which is really sweet. It's her knowing that he is still there with her as well, which is fine. But then we get Warren start barking in the dark, and we see the face of that one. We see the face of the one dude that's walking back and forth in the window at the Lambert's house. The scary enforcer demon.
I forgot about who that was. I was like, who is
Yeah,
that?
that was the
face?
Enforcer Demon. It's just really hard to see because it's like really low for some reason.
And
It's
Yeah.
tiny. Yeah, why
I
is
was
it so low?
I was like, what is that's weird. And then we get the worst possible jump scare to ever end this movie on with just the lipstick demon superimposed behind her going,
Yeah. That
not
was
gonna
not good.
lie. Don't like it.
Not good.
Hate it. Think it sucks. What do you guys think?
I think it is what it is. Like, it's definitely not good, but I'm just like, yeah, sure, that happened. Like, I don't know. I guess it's because I don't think this movie is like a masterpiece or anything,
Yeah,
you know?
no,
Like, I'm just
no.
like, well, that's fine. You know, it's, a callback, basically.
Yeah.
It's a stupid,
Setting up the
cheesy
next movie,
callback.
but it could have been done probably better than that.
Yeah.
Well, and it was unnecessary. Like we already got
Yeah.
the bits to set up the like moving into Insidious 1 and 2, and I 100% agree with you. That was terrible. This movie, like everything else about this movie, is really great. Those last like 45 seconds are just like, eh.
Yeah, we can lose that.
Cut it after she holds the vest.
Yeah, pull out. That'd have been fine. Yeah, the
Yeah.
little face, I was like, why is that
Or-
face clear down
Even if you just have him barking in the darkness.
there? And we just push in and cut.
Yeah.
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 Way scarier.
Like her seeing something at the end of the second one and us not knowing what she's seeing.
Still, by the way, we don't know what she's saying. Maybe the fifth one answers that question.
I hope so.
Because we've never got a follow-up to that. Because
Yeah.
the other
I'm excited for
movies
the
are
next one.
prequels. So that's weird. But yeah. So the ending, 2 thumbs down. But other than that, that was Insidious Chapter 3. What are you guys' thoughts?
I like it. I do. I just like it. I think it's a good movie. I think it's really fun. I think it's a fun prequel. Like, I don't even remember if I knew it was a prequel going into it. So it was like exciting. It was just exciting to see it, to see these characters that I didn't expect them to be there, Do you remember if they advertised that?
I don't think they marketed it as a prequel.
Yeah.
It's just like you go into the movie, at least it's alive, so you know it's a prequel. But I was reading stuff on it, and it was actually took place in 2007, by the way. That's when this movie takes place. That's why she has that fucking slide flip phone.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Heck
Yeah.
yeah.
So 2007 is when this movie takes place. The Lambert hauntings happened in what, 2010? Was that when Insidious 1 takes place? 2010, 2011?
Sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah. So, so this was a few years before the Lambert hauntings.
Yeah.
What are you going to give it, Lydia?
I think I'm going to give it 7.5. Like I said already, I don't think it's a masterpiece. I do think it is a good, fun movie, though, and I think it definitely has some good scares in it. It's got a good story. I love the characters. Like, every single one of the characters is good.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of them. And all of the emotions behind, like, every single character has a family member that has been lost, and like they're like what they're going through. I don't know. It just like I really like just like meeting, like seeing like the old couple, like the old cat lady pass away,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just like explaining how like everybody called her this, but she was my wife, and she was the most beautiful girl in town. Like, she was everything to me.
52 years. Yeah.
That is like, that's the kind of shit that I'm like, I'm here for this movie for that, Yeah,
What do you
I
think?
it just cuts me deep.
What do you think, Derek?
I think this movie has a lot of stuff going for it. I like the fact that it was a prequel. It gave us some more at least time. That character could have. I mean, she had a really storied past leading into the first and the second one, so they could still do more with that. Some of the scares really worked. we talked about the one at the very end that's just shouldn't really be there. It's a solid movie. I gave the other ones, I think 8.5 is what I gave them. I'm going to give this movie a 7 because I think that it could have been improved a little bit. But all in all, I would recommend this movie, and I had a lot of fun watching it. And there were parts that made me look behind myself.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as both of you guys. I mean, I was flirting with giving this movie a 6.5 because I mean, I don't dislike it by any stretch. There's a lot that I really do like, and I think the story is cool. I think the direction is pretty solid. There's actually one scene that did make I jumped one time during this movie. It's when after he saves her and the window's broken.
Oh, yeah.
Upstairs. So somebody has jumped out.
Yes.
And when she crawls up to look out the window and he pops up, I was holding Connor and I was like, bah! I gave him a little jolt. He looked at me. I was like, it's fine, buddy.
That's the one I always forget about too. But that one
I
makes
completely
me
forgot
jump,
about
too.
it.
Yeah.
Because he looked out and says, oh my God, he jumped and we see a body on the ground.
Yeah.
And then she goes to look and it pops up at her. That's a pretty good bit.
Awesome.
But I think I'm gonna after we talk about it, I'm gonna give it a 7, I think. It's solid. There's some stuff that I think could be improved upon. I think there's a lot going on in the third act that you have to pay attention to understand. Like especially with the mom stuff and all that, like it happens pretty quick. So if you're not paying attention, you might miss it. And then the very ending is just atrocious. But other than that, I think it's a pretty solid, fun horror movie. It's a worthy sequel of those other two movies, so I'm going to give it. A 7.
Nice.
So now it's time to do what we do every week and Atkinize this movie. Who's the great Tom Atkins play in Insidious, Chapter 3?
The dad.
Yeah, definitely.
I think
right?
he would do a good dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good
And I'd
because
love
there
to
aren't a
see it,
lot
too.
of males. There aren't a lot of males like older people. I mean, you kind of try to place him for where he is right now, but yeah, the dad's a really good one.
Yeah, I think so. I like Dermot Mulroney in this. I think he's good, but
wait, before we close the chapter of this story, I do have one question for you. The old couple.
Yeah.
So that lady knew of this entity. Do we feel like it was her dementia that gave her this awareness, or do you think she might have had a touch of sight?
I don't know. I'm assuming that it's her disease because it's kind of like she's in and out.
Yeah.
So she's kind of like a conduit or a radio wave for it.
Yeah, I would say that too, probably.
We didn't mention also, we forgot to mention the motivation of the entity and its MO, which is it would get people in the apartment complex, it would attach itself to them, and then it would get them to end their own lives.
Yep.
To be with him, because it would be the voice in their head, and that's the only way they can think to get rid of it, and then it would keep them as a pet. So to collect them, essentially.
Sounds
so
fun.
Gross.
Derek, before we move on, I want to show you something real fast, okay?
Mm-hmm.
There you go, Derek.
Nice.
Yeah. Halukin. Isn't that what I said?
Hadouken, you son of a bitch.
But when he says it sounds like Halukin.
George Lucas!
I'm gonna play the clip. You're gonna be like, "Oh man, Derek was so right. I can't believe it."
He says Hadouken. That's what it is. That's what
You know what?
Which, by the way,
we'll have a poll.
Means surge fist. That's why he says it.
Interesting.
Interesting. So, Derek, it's your turn to pick. What movie are we going to watch next week?
Am I really picking?
Yes.
Okay.
No, you're not really picking.
I'm gonna
Well, there
pretend
was a
to.
side conversation about.
Yeah. We don't know about that, so we're just gonna move forward
Oh,
like
okay.
usual.
I see.
Yeah.
All
Gotcha.
right, guys, I got it. Well, I don't got it. Let me think about it for a second, because I'm debating between two movies, and they're both in the same like kind of genre.
Oh,
One was more or less the original. The other one was kind of a new chapter, but like really like up the ante. And I'm trying to decide which one to
I'd
do.
say start at the beginning, man. Start at the beginning.
That's
All
how we
right.
do it.
Then we are gonna do the Blair Witch Project.
Okay, I see. I know what the other one was. It was Paranormal Activity, wasn't it?
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Nice.
Because I knew it wasn't Blair Witch 2.
Wah, wah, wah.
Nice.
All right, Blair Witch Project. Let's see where that is actually streaming.
So one thing I can't wait to talk about the lore around this movie
Yes.
when it came out. That's
So-
going to be like half of our podcast.
Nice.
It is streaming on Redbox for free, Plex for free, Amazon Prime for free. So those are the three places. And then, of course, you can pick it up at Google Play, Vudu, YouTube, Apple TV. That's where you can find the Blair Witch Project. Derek, do you have a story for us?
Man, I had my son's story. Let me see. Yeah, I did. I was thinking of one earlier, and I had it. What was it? I will tell you a story about a man named Jed. I'm kidding. I'm going to tell you. Lydia, you're probably too young to get that reference.
I think she knows the Beverly Hillbillies.
Did you know that's what I was talking about?
No.
Damn it.
Bam!
Tell you
All
a
right,
story about a
so-
man named Jed, a poor mountaineer barely kept his family fed.
Yep, Jamie's a connoisseur of all things Beverly Hillbillies.
You guys make me feel so young.
Dude,
Yeah.
before you tell the story, check this out. I was at my nephew's birthday party, and I found out that my sister-in-law has never heard of Ernest.
Really?
And one of the other people that were there never heard of Ernest either. And we were like,
How old are they?
you don't know who Ernest is?
Did they grow up in the 90s?
Yeah. I mean,
They're like
Casey's our
20
age.
You
Yeah.
talking about Casey?
Yeah, she doesn't
I
know
thought you were
Ernest
talking
is.
about Billy or something.
No.
That's
Oh,
insane,
wow.
man. How have you never seen Ernest Goes to Camp, or Ernest Scared Stupid, or Ernest Saves Christmas?
It's Ernest Goes to Jail
Ernest Goes to Jail!
is the funniest.
How do you
Yeah.
not know
Ernest
that one?
Scared Stupid is the best.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
This is gonna be the Halloween where I introduce my son to Ernest Scared Stupid.
Nice.
And we should watch it for the show, maybe.
He's gonna have horrible
yeah.
nightmares.
It's a great
No, he's gonna be walking around going, Hoff Bulgarian EMAC. Of course.
EMAC!
All right, I got two stories for you. One super cute, and the other one is actually going to lead into next week's episode. So the super cute one, my son just watched Ratatouille for the first time, right? And Clark, one, has a really great imagination, and I absolutely adore that about him. But the other thing he has is he's got a really good memory when he wants to have it. And so he watched it for the first time, and he walked around like firing kitchen staff and saying, I need cooking utensils and I need all this. And when we went to the store today, we made a grocery list, and Quincy like broke it in half, and I took him, and I was like, all right, Clark, because he was kind of all over the place. I was like, we got to go get our recipe. And he like took off with that. So
That's so cute.
it was really cute. So the second part is, so I know I should probably save this for next week, but I'm going to go ahead and say it now. Joey and I went to see this movie that we're going to do next week. And man, no, on the way back, because he lived like 4 blocks-ish away from the movie theater. And so like we walked down there. The movie started at 7, and so whenever it got out, it was probably 9:30-ish, right around there. So like we're walking back in the dark after just watching this movie, and like we were getting jump scared all over the place because we're like, what is that noise? You know, and like all this stuff. And so and because when we watched this movie, it came out in what the mid 90s. So we were like 11, 12, and we just fed right into it, man. We
Came out in '99.
in 99. Okay, so I still would have been like 16, 15, 16.
Yeah.
So it was like really prime age to really be like into the movie. And so it was a really fun walk back. One of my favorite walk backs from a movie.
You know, Joey and I experienced a scary walk back from the movies as well. We didn't even go see a horror movie. Joey and I went to go see, by the way, the classic. I'm going to preface this by saying the classic Joe Pesci, Danny Glover comedy, Gone Fishing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen Gone Fishing, but it's excellent. You should totally watch it.
We recommend it.
I would say it's a 10. Borderline. So we're on our way back from watching this movie, and we're just walking. And I lived about the same distance from the movies that Derek's talking about. Joey actually lived down the block from me at that point. So we're walking back to my house, and we're going down, and there's this guy. He's like, "Hey!" And Joey and I look at each other, and he goes, "I just keep walking." He's like, "Hey, you!" And Joey's like, just ignore him. Let's keep walking. And we're walking. And he goes, "Hey, you kids, come back here!" And started running after us.
Oh my god!
We have no idea who this guy was or why he started chasing us. So we started sprinting down the road. This guy followed us 3 blocks. We ran to the block where my mom's house was, turned so he didn't know where we live, and we hid in the bushes. And he ran past us. And then just kept going. And then we circled back to my mom's house. Still, to this day, have no idea why this guy chased us. He just did.
What? Whoa. That's
Yeah.
weird.
Really weird, right?
Huh.
Like, what the hell? So, guys,
I want to figure it out. I'm like
I
racking my
know.
brain, like, why would
if
you
you
chase
were the
a
one
kid
that
down?
chased me, drop a like and comment down below. So I
Explain
can finally
yourself.
solve this
Yeah.
20, 30-year-old mystery. Yeah, I still don't know to this day why this guy chased us. It just was the weirdest thing.
Huh.
So we have watched a space where we will be having a special guest here soon. And maybe announcing the next project. It is going to be a feature. Is the next one we're going to do a couple shorts in between, but we just finished the script for the feature. We'll start raising money for that once we budget that out, and we'll let you guys know in this space where you can fund that and what that's going to look like, and all of the cool details regarding that. Some exciting stuff, right, guys?
Yo.
We're making a movie, guys. We're making a movie. It's exciting stuff. And that is our show this week. You can follow us online. You can follow us on Instagram at Scream Bloody Movies. You can follow us at HiLaProductions.com. Follow us on Facebook at HiLa Productions. You can follow us each on Twitter at DDoglyMaster. Lydia is Spooky, and I'm at Racket. You can also find me on Threads at HiLa Productions. Be sure to comment down below on your favorite Insidious movie, and if you want us to do Insidious 4 in the near future. And also, seriously, if you were the guy that followed me, fucking, what was your deal, man? What was that about? If there's nothing else, for Derek Lemaster and Lydia Judy, I'm Jamie Hiles. Remember, if you're going to scream bloody movies.